Hello, and welcome to this edition of Back in History. In Back in History, we take you back in time to the events that occurred in the historical past. In this edition, we bring to you the full text of the speech delivered by Tafawa Balewa, Nigeria's first Prime Minister, on the first day of October 1960, when Nigeria gained independence from Britain. Nigeria's independence was long anticipated. Several groups were formed in several parts of the country and in the diaspora with a view to raising awareness on the need to grant independence to Nigeria and allow the country to be governed by the indigenous people of Nigeria. Representations were made to Britain with reasons carefully advanced on why Nigeria should be granted independence. In the course of the agitation, Ghana was granted independence in 1957, and this acted as a morale booster for next-door Nigeria. Nationalists from Nigeria continued in their agitation for the extension of the same gesture to Nigeria. Eventually, the agitations began to yield fruit. Britain agreed to grant independence to Nigeria. Discussions were made and modalities set in place for their declaration of independence. As of 1958, a date had been fixed for the official handover of Nigeria to Nigerian citizens. That date was 1st October 1960. A couple of things were put in place in anticipation of the Independence Day. There was anxiety everywhere, and on the appointed date, Nigeria was officially proclaimed an independent country with Tafawa Balewa as the first Prime Minister of the new country. One of the events slated to take place at the Independence Day celebration was for an opportunity to be given to Tafawa Balewa to present a speech to the August gathering. Here is the full text of the said speech. Unquote. Today is Independence Day, the 1st of October 1960. It is a date to which for 2 years every Nigerian has been eagerly looking forward to. At last, our great day has arrived, and Nigeria is now, indeed, an independent sovereign nation. Words cannot adequately express my joy and pride at being the Nigerian citizen privileged to accept from Her Royal Highness these constitutional instruments which are the symbols of Nigeria's independence. It is a unique privilege which I shall remember forever, and it gives me strength and courage as I dedicate my life to the service of our country. He went on to say, "This is a wonderful day, and it is all the more wonderful because we have awaited it with increasing impatience, compelled to watch one country after another overtaking us on the road when we had so nearly reached our goal. But now we have acquired our rightful status, and I feel sure that history will show that the building of our nation proceeded at the wisest best. It has been thorough, and Nigeria now stands well built upon firm foundations." Today's ceremony marks the culmination of a process which began 15 years ago and has now reached a happy and successful conclusion. It is with justifiable pride that we claim the achievement of our independence to be unparalleled in the annals of history. Each step of our constitutional advance has been purposefully and peacefully planned with full and open consultation between representatives of all the various interests in Nigeria, but in harmonious cooperation with the administering power, which has today relinquished its authority. He went on to say, still unquote, "At the time when our constitutional development entered upon its final phase, the emphasis was largely upon self-government. We, the elected representatives of the people of Nigeria, concentrated on proving that we were fully capable of managing our own affairs both internally and as a nation. However, we were not to be allowed the selfish luxury of focusing our own interest on our own homes. In these days of rapid communication, we cannot live in isolation apart from the rest of the world, even if we wished to do so. All too soon, it has become evident that for us, independence implies a great deal more than self-government. This great country, which has now emerged without bitterness or bloodshed, finds that she must at once be ready to deal with grave international issues. This fact has, of recent months, been unhappily emphasized by the startling events which have occurred in this continent. I shall not labor the point, but it would be unrealistic not to draw attention first to the awe-inspiring task confronting us at the very start of our nationhood. When this day in October 1960 was chosen for our independence, it seemed that we were destined to move with quiet dignity to our place on the world stage. Recent events have changed the scene beyond recognition, so that we find ourselves today being tested to the utmost. We are called upon immediately to show that our claims to responsible government are well founded, and having been accepted as an independent state, we must at once play an active part in maintaining the peace of the world, in preserving civilization. I promise you, we shall not fail for want of determination, and we come to this task better equipped than many. Balewa continued, still on quote, "For this, I pay tribute to the manner in which successive British governments have gradually transferred the burden of responsibility to our shoulders. The assistance and unfailing encouragement which we have received from each Secretary of State for the colonies and their intense personal interest in our development has immeasurably lightened that burden. All our friends in the colonial office must today be proud of their handiwork and in the knowledge that they have helped to lay the foundations of a lasting friendship between our two nations. I have indeed every confidence that based on the happy experience of successful partnership, our future relations with the United Kingdom will be more cordial than ever, bound together as we shall in the Commonwealth by a common allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth, whom today we proudly acclaim as Queen of Nigeria and head of the Commonwealth. Time will not permit the individual mention of all those friends, many of whom Nigerians, whose selfless labor has contributed to our independence. Some have not lived to see the fulfillment of their hopes. On them be peace. But nevertheless, they are remembered here, and the names of buildings and streets and roads and bridges throughout the country recall to our minds their achievements, some of them on a national scale, others confined perhaps to a small area in one division, are more humble but of equal value in the sum total. He went on to say, still on quote, "Today, we have with us representatives of those who have made Nigeria, representatives of the regional government, of former central government, of the missionary societies, and the banking and commercial enterprises, and members both past and present of the public service. We welcome you and we rejoice that you have been able to come and share in our celebrations. We wish that it could have been possible for all of those whom you represent to be here today. Many, I know, will be disappointed to be absent. But if they are listening to me now, I say to them, thank you on behalf of my countrymen. Thank you for your devoted service which helped to build up Nigeria into a nation. Today we are reaping the harvest which you have sowed, and the quality of the harvest is equaled only by our gratitude to you. May God bless you all. This is an occasion when our hearts are filled with conflicting emotions. We are indeed proud to have achieved our independence, and proud that our efforts should have contributed to this happy event. But do not mistake our pride for arrogance. It is tempered by feelings of sincere gratitude to all who have shared in the task of developing Nigeria politically, socially, and economically. We are grateful to the British officers whom we have known, first as masters, and then as leaders, and finally as partners, but always as friends. And there have been countless missionaries who have labored unceasingly in the cause of education and to whom we owe many of our medical services. We are grateful also to those who have brought modern methods of banking and of commerce and new industries. I wish to pay tribute to all of these people and to declare our everlasting admiration of their devotion to duty. Tafawa concluded thus: finally, I must express our gratitude to Her Royal Highness, Princess Alexandra of Kent, for personally bringing to us these symbols of our freedom, and especially for delivering the gracious message from Her Majesty the Queen. And so, with God save our Queen, I open a new chapter in the history of Nigeria and of the Commonwealth, and indeed of the world. End of quote. Tafawa Balewa went on to govern Nigeria from 1st October 1960 until 15th January 1966, when he was assassinated in the first military coup that took place in the country. He was an astute administrator, a unifying factor, a true nationalist, and a Pan-Africanist. His memory shall remain green in the hearts of several Nigerians at home and abroad, and his speech on the auspicious occasion of the grant of independence to Nigeria shall continue to resonate in Nigeria, Africa, and the world. Thanks for watching this episode of Back in History, and do remember to subscribe to the channel or follow the page for regular notifications on every new video.